this special school board meeting to order. This is the Oaks Public School District 41. It's Tuesday, March 30th, 2021 at 7 a.m. and we are at the Oaks Public Schools conference room and also by Zoom. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting today. We have all board members present, including Sheila Nagel by Zoom. We also have with us Mike Bitz and Paul Stremick with Dakota Leadership Solutions, who will be guiding us today in our, yes, please, selection of finalists. As we discuss the applicants that we have received for our superintendent position. We also have with us April Herring, our clerk, our business manager, Tara Steiner, Dan Spellerberg. At this time, I would like the board to entertain, or I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. And we must do this because finalists in applicants to this position must be confidential until they become a finalist. So with that, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 4404-18.27. Mr. Bill Schmitz moves to enter into executive session. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Rosendahl seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Thank you, Sheila.
So as you come up.
You'll start recording? Yep. Okay, so we're going to, the board is going to exit executive session now at 8:22 a.m. We'll open the door.
Yeah.
Okay, would someone make a motion? Okay, Thorpe moves to end our executive session and reconvene an open meeting. Who seconds the motion? Bill seconds that motion. It's been moved and seconded to end executive session and reconvene in open session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Thank you, Sheila. And the motion carries. And we are now in open session of the Oaks Public School District Board, special board meeting. We ended our executive session at 8:22 a.m. And is there a motion related to the finalists for the superintendent position?
I'll make the motion to interview 4 candidates. David Getz, Ryan Moser, Anna Sell, Kevin O. St. John.
Thank you. Schmitz has moved to interview 4 of our finalists, Getz, Moser, Sell, and St. John. Is there a second?
I will second.
Sheila Nagel seconds. Just a point of note that we did have 10 applicants complete the application process with Dakota Leadership Solutions. We reviewed all 10 in executive session, discussed and had consultation with Dakota Leadership, and these 4 were selected by the board as finalists. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none. Again, the motion is to interview the following 4 candidates: David Getz, Ryan Moser, Anna Sell, and Kevin St. John for the superintendent position of Oaks Public Schools. April, please call the roll.
Sheila,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and Robert.
Yes.
I vote yes also.
Oh, no, it's for you.
The motion passes 5-0, and those are our selected finalists for the next superintendent of Oaks Public Schools. The next items on the agenda are to schedule interviews, determine the dates and times. We have previously determined that our interviews will be held. Oh, yes, we do have our people. Thank you for letting them back in.
Oh, yep.
The interview dates and times are to be Wednesday and Thursday, April 7th and 8th. And the interview time slots that we established are 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock a.m. on both of those dates. No problems with that. Everyone has blocked those out. Dakota Leadership will be calling all of the finalists and scheduling them. We discussed that it may be appropriate for Oaks Public Schools to pay for a hotel room for the applicants for the night before, as 3 of the 4 of them are from too far away to make a morning commute. And so nothing more to do on the interview, the scheduling dates and times. Confirming the interview committee. Discussion consensus was that the board is our interview committee. The interviews will be held in open public meetings. Anyone is welcome to attend in person, any or all. However, we do not intend to offer remote access to the meetings by Zoom. School must be in session. We do not intend to offer Zoom or any other remote access so that other applicants don't have access to the questions and the interview process prior to their interview. Any other comments or questions about the interview committee? You will be getting suggested questions that you can review and we can discuss at some time prior to our interviews. Finally, confirming those conducting tours. Carrie, you've been working on that, collaborating with Craig. I believe it's our intent that the tours of the school building as well as the community would happen after each respective interview. I think it is unlikely that Mrs. Anna Sell would require too much of a tour. So the other 3 applicants are from some distance. So what do you have planned for them?
We will start internally with a site tour of both elementary and high school. From here, we will go to the center. We will do a center tour, and after that, we will do a community tour.
And I would think it could be tailored somewhat to the needs of the applicant based on, what are their interests, whether they have family, spousal employment, what is of interest to them.
I'm assuming the interview will last, let's say, an hour and a half. The tours, just so I can give them a time frame. How long do you think that'll be?
I'm guessing anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on.
How
I'm
many
guessing an
questions?
hour plus.
Yeah, I would think so. To get through these 2 buildings plus transport to the center, drive around town. And I believe Craig said that they were going to have one of our smaller buses cleaned up and ready to go, and the driver lined up for that. So they'll might be dirty by then. Need to be cleaned
We'll be
again.
driving every night on the road, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna need to be cleaned when we're all done.
All right. So any other questions, comments for the good of the order?
Following the last meeting, I'm
Last
assuming, or the last interview, I'm assuming you'll take a short break and then have a meeting to discuss the candidates.
Which would be an open meeting.
Open meeting, you must discuss them in open and actually make a motion to hire. I'm assuming you would do it that day. If you're thinking differently, please let me know. Then after you make the motion to hire the person and it's passed, then we'd have on the agenda to go into executive session for negotiation of the contract. You'd provide me the framework and the parameters. I would go back and eventually there'd be a second meeting or be another meeting, whether it's your next regular, to approve the final contract.
Okay, and our next regular meeting is the following Tuesday. It may be that we want to do it
Well,
sooner.
and actually, I think that, truly, once Paul meets with candidate, your choice, and they agree, April can send them a contract, they can sign it. And the ones that their signatures on it, you're good. You can wait till Tuesday. And then I think they'd understand that.
Yeah, if it was 2 or 3 weeks down the road,
Right.
you'd probably want to.
But I think once they, I think that's fine.
The search firm 7th and 8th, that's Thursday, Friday.
I'm sorry.
What day?
Did I say the wrong?
Wednesday.
No, it's Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, I don't make sure.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, because there's no school Monday or
Yeah, the 5th
Tuesday.
is Monday, isn't it?
Right. We
They were
didn't
talking
want
6th,
to,
7th.
we wanted to have the interviews while school is in session.
So
So they could hear all that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wednesday, Thursday.
The interviews be in this room.
In this
Yes,
room.
yep.
So, and superintendents are used to that. I mean, and when that happens,
It's music,
yeah.
right?
If they start frowning, then you know that's probably not.
And what else? And who will be with us from Dakota Leadership?
I will be.
Oh, okay.
And Paul will not sit in on the interview, right?
Oh, okay.
No,
He'll be here, but he'll meet the candidate at the door, bring them to you, introduce them to you. But we want that to be your decision.
Okay. And my question then is, we discussed the interview committee is the board. April will be at all the meetings and others will likely be present. How and at what time do we, because they're present, how do we solicit their impressions? Not that they get a vote, of course, but when and how do we do that?
it would be at the end.
When you take a break,
When you take the break, you can say, okay, let's have some feedback on what you think.
But it's still an open meeting.
It's still an open meeting.
So I, as the president, would say, all right, you were here, what are your impressions?
Does anybody want
Fair enough, because I think if you're inviting people, or if people are interested, you at least want to acknowledge that their input was heard, not that they're gagged and you can't, they were here, but.
And in all fairness, they should attend all 4 interviews to comment, because it's hard to say, well, I think this one's best, and that's the only one I sat in on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no gauge to say this one's better than that one. It's up to you if you want some teacher rep, or if you're gonna free up a teacher or 2 to sit in. You have, I'm guessing, the Oaks Education Association. I mean, that's.
April, will you reach out to, is it Kathy Warren, that's the president, and ask if they would like to designate 1 or 2 to sit in on all interviews?
But not on the committee, just.
They
They don't get
can
a vote.
listen, and we would ask for a general impressions or concerns.
If they're gonna do that, I hope it's one from each building, an elementary and a high school.
What you could do too, and again, it might mean another meeting or just with you, is say, give us 2 or 3 from the elementary and 2 or 3 from the high school, and we'll pick.
if there's a concern of who they.
That's what happened is they made them submit 2 or 3 names, and then the board picked who it would be from the names submitted by the Education Association. And I don't know the relationship you have. I mean, that's up to you. Maybe there's no difference.
I personally do not.
Do you want me to reach out also to the classified staff?
Sure.
Like Dave, Carrier,
I think that's a good idea.
I think if you had 1 classified and 1 elementary, 1 high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then the public, of course, can come.
Yep.
And even when you debrief after each candidate or something, you're gonna finish at 9:30 and the next one's not till 10, people can mill around and say, geez, I really like this. And also remember that I'm here so that if there's something that came up and you didn't ask, or you wanted a follow-up question, you can tell me, and I have the cell numbers of all the candidates, or I can follow up with them and get back to you. So utilize me as well.
All right. Anything else, board members? Carrie? April? Paul? Mike?
It's gonna be smooth.
Okay, very good. So I will declare this meeting, the special school board meeting, adjourned at 8:34 a.m. Thank you all for your hard work, and thank you two in advance for your hard work in scheduling and getting and organizing. Thank you so much.